Hey everyone, this is Elias from RefMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2023 Lexus RZ 450e Luxury. Let's see how Lexus does with their first full EV. Let's get started. We get started in the front and we can see it's got some cool stuff to it. Some stuff, it does remind me of Gonzo. Yes, I know with the RX we had that, but this kind of just adds a little bit more to that. It still looks good. I do love a lot of what's going on up here, but sometimes you just can't get past something. But first, this color, it is really nice. This blue is very subtle, but it just adds so much to the car. I do love it. It's not my favorite because you do have the option of getting that combination, that two-tone, where you get this color and the black as well. So it kind of does this thing with the hood and the front, makes it look really, really aggressive. So I do love that. But yeah, we get started in the front and we can see these headlights are really nice. I love the design. They're very aggressive. We have that boomerang that I've always loved about Lexus. And yeah, it looks good. The light output was incredible. No complaints there. We do have a lot of flat surfaces, which you could probably see. This was literally from driving from my house to my filming location. You're gonna collect a lot of bugs because I've been kind of cleaning a lot of bugs because this front is so flat. We do have the Lexus badge in the front. We have the front facing camera to help out with the 360-degree camera system. But yeah, we have the washers here for the headlights. The front, again, it's just very flat. So just be ready to clean off a lot of things. And I feel like you're probably gonna get a lot of chips with, you know, rocks being thrown up because it's such a flat, big surface to get that in, as opposed to maybe a grille, which could deflect it here and there. So just be aware of that. And yes, it's a painted surface as well. So yeah, then we have down here, we have a little bit of venting, which you can hear. It is actually on right now. So I can show you guys the headlights. But overall though, it is a pretty cool front end. Again, I do love the black and the, you know, this blue color combination a lot more, but it's not bad. Let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have, yeah, we have an electric motor here. And I'm surprised that Lexus just didn't throw on a massive plastic cover on it. So thank you, Lexus. And I can see why you didn't throw on a plastic cover, because it actually looks really nice. It's nice and tidy. The engineering aspects of it is really cool to see. It's not an ugly setup. It is actually really beautiful. I love the way that this looks. Yeah, to think that a power plant looks nice. Yeah, there's some engines that I've seen and I'm like, wow, you should have maybe covered it up because it doesn't look good, but not this. Thank you for exposing this and thank you for making it look really nice. So we have this. Now let's talk numbers. Now we're dealing with 308 horsepower that get delivered through the 4 wheels, and that gets split with 150 kilowatts up front and 80 kilowatts in the back, with 196.4 pound-feet of torque to the front and 124.3 pound-feet of torque to the rear. The battery does have a 220-mile all-electric driving range when you have the 18-inch wheel configuration. When you have the 20-inch wheel, you do drop down to 196. Now, a couple of things with this. The power has been really nice. It's not super EV, which is nice because sometimes, you know, if you just put it a little too much gas, yeah, pedal input, some of these EVs just go like a bat out of hell, making drivability almost kind of annoying, especially for your passengers when you're just kind of feeling the torque, which can be nice though. So depending on your audience, but for everyday drivability, this was really nice because it was significantly more tamed. So that was definitely a nice plus to this. Now this does have different modes. So we do have the Sport, which is obviously the most responsive. Normal behaves a little bit. Eco behaves more. And range. So range is the extreme. It's below eco, so it's like ultra eco. And what that does is it does cut off virtually everything and just gets you to you know, the highest range possible, and that's because it turns off the AC, which can be one of the biggest consumers of your power source, so to speak. Now, with that being said though, those numbers I told you of range, yeah, it does require that range mode, which yeah, it was kind of unfair to kind of use those numbers. Yes, it can do that, but don't expect to always get those numbers because of the fact that you'd have to use the range. Honestly, it wasn't worth it. I just kept it in eco just to make the most out of the battery charge. And you know, electricity is a little expensive, but significantly cheaper than gas. But we do have that, and I didn't have to charge it too many times. I think probably 2 or 3 this week, and we were doing a good amount of driving. The one thing I did have to plan for my wife was because her trip to and from work is a total of 50 miles. And with this having the 196 in the range, that doesn't take into account, you know, the stop and go traffic, anything else, the AC, the heating, because this week has been cold and then hot. It's been crazy. So yes, so I did have to kind of plan and make sure that the charge was complete just in case of anything. So just be aware that it's not the biggest ranging vehicle. And again, when you have it in eco or higher, you're not going to get the estimated numbers that they tell you. You could probably, if you baby it significantly, but again, just be aware of range, which is surprising for Lexus's first EV. Yeah, I would have expected a little bit more range from it. But overall though, it was a really good power plant. And like I said, it was really nice to not have to deal with instant torque, which I kind of missed it. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at those big 20-inch wheels that do kill our range, but man, do they look great. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this nice 20-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 235/50 Dunlop SP Sport Max. Now, a couple of things with this. First, the wheel design is really nice. They do offer an 18-inch wheel configuration. You are more efficient with that, so you do have a longer range with that. Honestly, yeah, even though the range isn't big to begin with already, go with the 20. They just look so much better. And I love this color. It's like a gunmetal color. It just looks really, really nice. The design is nice. Just very, very good wheel design. We get to the tires, and these things are super impressive. Now, we don't have a super amount of that EV torque. We still do get a good amount. So these weren't struggling too much or needing to work too much, but the comfort, the quietness to them, just the feel, just, I know I said comfort and feel just kind of don't go together, but it's nailed it. They've nailed it so well that you're feeling what you need to feel and you're not feeling what you don't want to feel. So the tire is really good. And that's because we also have a great suspension setup in this as well. It's just dialed in so well for this big heavy guy because it's not a light vehicle. So we loved the fact that this was so comfortable. My kid was literally 10 minutes into the ride, he goes, in the back, he's like, wow, Dad, this is really, really nice. It's so smooth going over the bumps. And my wife said the same thing. And I felt the same thing too. So definitely a great setup. If you're looking for something, you know, with these EVs, obviously they get heavy, they feel heavy. It doesn't really feel that heavy because of everything that's going on in here. And the brakes are really great as well. You have the one pedal driving that you could do, the regenerative braking, and it's really good at, you know, that pedal to get these guys stopped. It's not very aggressive. Even at the most aggressive setting, it can still be aggressive if you wanted to. There's a lot of control. There's a lot of greatness to this. So really, really loving this setup here. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side, and this is probably where Lexus design excels so well. There's so many little things that just come together and they look so good in this RZ. Now, a couple of things. Let's get started in the front, and we can see we have one of the things I really realize is the kind of hood line up here. It's kind of short, it's kind of low, and that makes these wheels pop so much more. And that's why I said the 20s just look so much better than the 18s. Yes, you're sacrificing a decent amount of range, but I think it's well worth it. They look really good, and we have these lines that just look so nice. We have this line here that just kind of swoops around and gets collected here. It's just a lot of great design elements, and we have kind of this little fender framing here, so to speak, and it kind of sticks out a little bit, so it's not just part of the fender, it's not kind of one of those stuck-on ones, so it does have a good design. I love the way that this looks, and I like that it's in black as well to go with this color that just looks so good. The ether color is just incredible. It looks really good, and it's, again, a very subtle color, but it shines so well. We do have the cap here for the charging, so this is where you do connect your EV charger. And then we come down here, we have another great line that just swoops and just kind of carries it over. It's just a lot of great things with this. We have the black mirrors, we do have the camera system down here, and we do have the black framing around. Now, when I mentioned you had that two-tone color, if you do get the ether and the, what I think it's called Onyx Black, the whole roof becomes black. So this little area here is black. Get it. It's just such a big difference when you have that little bit of black right up top there. It looks really good. And again, we have this swoop design line here, looks great. We have this little panel, which is a nice little touch, again with the fender, the lights kind of sticking out. And this, we'll talk about this a little bit more once we get to the back, but it's a cool little quirky design that I do love. But overall though, this side looks really, really nice. Now, I do have my key fob in my pocket, so I'll go ahead and, now, nothing happened, and that's because it has the little button, which is my favorite. I can push the little button and go ahead and open up, and we're in. So I can go ahead and do this, close it, and now if I go to the back, I also have the little button that I can just go ahead and open and not have a problem. So yeah, and I think, and this is one of my favorite setups for door handles. Yeah, I know, stupid little detail, but when you have kids and it's those handles you have to pull out, you see them struggling, and then you kind of worry they're gonna put too much of their weight and really rip off the door handle. So this has made it really easy for my kid to literally just squeeze the handle, because it's not a very difficult button to press, and open it up. Same thing if you have issues with maybe your hands, you're not as able as others. Like I said, this is a super simple mechanism to just kind of push and you're open. So good on you, Lexus. I love this design. And again, you don't have to worry about really ripping door handles off. But overall though, like I said, this thing is incredible on the side profile. Let's go ahead and head to the back and see what we have back there. We get to the back and, okay, so maybe I lied. Maybe the side profile isn't my favorite. Maybe it is the rear, because this looks really cool. I love a lot of these things. So let's get started from the top. And on the top, we have these kind of like little winglets. Yeah, it was kind of a unique design that I haven't really seen in vehicles, but it looks really cool. It is unique, so it may not be for everyone, but I love the design. I love the, just, I'm sure there's some aerodynamics effect to this, but it looks really nice. I love the point that you get there, and kind of the race car humps that you kind of see there. Yeah, it's interesting, Lexus, so nice design there. This though, this is where I kind of had a little bit of a problem. We do have a rear glass with no wiper. Yeah, so we do have the defrost. It is kind of a steep rear glass, so rain can fall off. We didn't really experience rain, but I can tell you that we had super heavy fog this morning, and this was a little difficult because even with the defroster, it does take a while. When the front, literally I turned it on and it auto sensed the front windshield, and it just one swoop and it was gone. So I would have, yeah, I don't know. I wish we had a rear wiper, which is rare for me to say because typically it just throws the line off. And I can see why you probably didn't add it there, because it might throw the design aesthetics to it. But we have that. But then we have this kind of swoop spoiler look to it, and it is really nice. I love the way that this looks back here. The taillights, we get to the taillights, and the taillights are really nice. They pop out from the body a little bit on the side, and we have this just massive swoop around that just looks really good. And I like the dark smoked effect that it has. So yeah, again, this rear looks really good. Then we have obviously the license plate area. We have the badging down here. We have a little bit more kind of twist to it with it being in black instead of the ether color. But yeah, this rear is really nice. Now, this is where I'm confused, because I was getting some groceries out of the back, and my hands were full, and I thought maybe this has like a kick sensor. So I went ahead and I did the can thing, and it beeped, but it didn't open. Not sure why. So I tried looking in settings. I'm probably forgetting something. I didn't look at the menu. I was just having too much fun at the manual, and I was having too much fun driving the Lexus. So yeah, I was pressing the button down here because it's actually at a pretty good place to open it up. And of course, it's now going to misbehave, but you go ahead and open it up, and we have a ton of space back here. This was the big surprise. I was like, wow, okay, an SUV that actually has trunk space, because we get all these CUVs and SUVs, and it's just incredible how much, you know, space is taken up, and you barely get any trunk space. But with this, you get a ton of space back here. And also, when you go ahead and go under here, we do have a little area, and it does come with its own slow level 1 charger. But yeah, I charge mine with my level 2 Autel charger, which I'll go ahead and include in the description because it was super easy to charge with. But yeah, it's a good amount of space. And oh yeah, and this cover, I love it because it's super simple, just a matter of getting it off, and you can fold it in half, and it lays really flat, and you could literally store it away if you need the extra height for this. We go ahead and we close this off, and we're set. Now let's go ahead and hop in and take a look at everything that we have inside here, because it's actually really nice. Let's go. We get inside of the Lexus, and this is actually pretty impressive. There's a lot of nice things that are happening in here. So let's go ahead and get started. So on the door, we have this beautiful, yeah, it's really an understatement of the description. This beautiful soft, like Alcantara finish, and it is in this nice blue color. And we do have a lighter like leather up here, which is really nice to touch. It's just really great finish to these things, and the materials are exceptional. You know, we have the leather down here as well, which is nice and soft. We do have my favorite way of opening the door, which is just pushing the button there, or you can always just manually, you know, do it with a more mechanical touch to it. And we have the buttons up here, very ergonomically placed, no issues there. We do have a little bit of storage. We have my wallet in there, but you can fit a water bottle in there with no issue. The Mark Levinson system. Yeah, this thing is loud, and it sounds so nice. So definitely a huge plus with this sound system. Overall though, this thing looks incredible. Now, you can't see it right now because it's super bright, but that will shine Lexus on the floor, which is a nice little touch. You know, it's always nice to have that little touch to things like that. But overall though, this door was great. Kids, maybe not. So just be aware, this may not be the best for messy kids. Yeah. So we now go to the seats, and these seats are just continuing from that beautiful, you know, micro suede or Alcantara kind of feel to it. It looks really nice. It feels really good. But again, yeah, just be aware of kids. It is heated, it is vented. We do have a little bit of leather on the sides there. Overall though, it's a beautiful design. We have our power adjustments there. We don't have massage, which, yeah, would have been nice, but obviously this isn't a flagship model, so to speak, to have something like that. But overall though, these seats were super comfortable, super big boy friendly as well. And I could drive these things till, yeah, I run out of charge, with no issues. So let's go ahead and hop in and take a look at what else we have here. We get to the steering wheel, and this thing is incredible. This is definitely one of the best feeling steering wheels I have ever encountered. It is just so soft. The feel to it is incredible. It's probably, yeah, the softest leather I've ever felt. It's so nice that whenever I make a turn and you kind of let it slide through your fingers, it's just such a good feeling when you do that with this Lexus wheel. And ergonomically, it's nicely designed, so yeah, my hand falls really well in there. And on the left hand side, we have these buttons that don't really designate anything, and that's because you have to use a heads-up display to see what you're selecting, essentially. So it's kind of a yes, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess you could say, because if you like kind of resting your hand a little bit, kind of favoring like that, you're going to be activating that button constantly. But it's a nice touch, because when you don't, when you touch the buttons purposely and then you see the controls on the HUD or heads-up display, it's easy, because at that point you don't have to kind of guess what button am I pressing, because it will indicate it to you up there. So on the left-hand side, we do have it set for your radio controls on there, and we have the up and down volume there. And obviously here we can switch over to next track and different voice modes here. So this is kind of a secondary menu button. And same thing here, except we have the cruise control options here on there, and the display of what you want to see in the gauge cluster. So really nice. But overall, though, my favorite thing is, again, the feel to it. It's just really nice. And that blue color is incredible. We get over to the gauge cluster, and this is where, yeah, I thought something was wrong with me in the sense that the gauge cluster isn't really that sharp. Yeah, I was thinking there was, so they have like this anti-glare kind of thing to it, but it's not sharp. I was telling my wife, I'm like, did you notice that it was kind of blurry? She goes, yeah, I thought my vision was kind of going off too, but then I looked at the infotainment screen and it looks super sharp. So just be aware, this is a little bit on the soft side as far as like sharpness. It kind of hurt my eyes, to be honest with you. So just be aware of that. And we do have kind of this meter here for like the power. So power and then the charge. We have the drive mode in the middle, so obviously we're in reverse or park or drive right in there. And yeah, so we have that. And overall, though, it's okay. Not much information that we're really getting from there. We do have some different modes that we can just kind of switch over at the bottom, but nothing really wow. Yeah, so I don't know, I would have expected maybe a little bit more, maybe a little graphic on here would have been nice. We do have, again, the drive mode. So we have range, which is, again, going to switch off, literally just switch off the AC, and it's already starting to get hot. So we can go to eco mode, and we have sport mode, which changes and gives you a nice little red, and then custom mode, which is depending on how you set up, it's like 3 parameters for that. So we'll switch it back to eco mode and turn on the AC. And yeah, that's really it for the gauge cluster. Nothing, like I said, exciting about that. Now, when we get to the top, we do get this button here, which is for this moonroof, sunroof, something roof. Basically, take a look at that. So when I press that, you see the sky. So it basically makes the glass transparent or opaque. If it's too hot and you don't want the sun to come in, you have that. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Kiddo's been like, yeah, go ahead, Dad, put it on. And then, yeah, you can see a little bit there if we don't want the sun to come in, and if you want nature to come in from the top. Then we get over to the infotainment system, and it is a very big screen. Now, yes, you're seeing a big reflection. You see myself. It is a little bit on the reflective side, not as bad as the camera is capturing it, mainly because it's, yeah, because of the height, the camera is lower, so it's, yeah. But it's not too bad when you are at a higher driving, there. Yeah, that's kind of my driving position. So it is a big screen. I do love the big screen. It is super sharp. It is super bright. Again, you're seeing this, but trust me, it's not as bad as it looks on camera. But we have the Apple wireless CarPlay which is a nice touch. We do have your climate controls down here, which is really nice. I've gotten used to these. Usually I didn't like them before, but the only thing is, yeah, we have some options, quick options there in the menu, which is a good touch to have that there. And that way you don't have to really get out of Apple CarPlay, like by going to this and then going to the Lexus mode and then going to those settings, you know, to some of the main ones that you would normally just change when you have it set to that. So it is a nice little touch to have that. So we'll go back to Apple CarPlay and just have that running. And again, I love these buttons. I had it in the other Lexus vehicles and I love the way that this looks. You have that kind of screen popping in from in there. We have the different climate controls. And yeah, no complaints there. Oh yeah, we have our button because we do need that rear glass to defrost because we don't have that wiper. That's going to be your little guy there. Then we come down here and we have the charging options. We have the USB-C connections only up front. And we do have the button for the camera, which has been really, really good. So let me just put it in drive. You can see all the different cameras and you can change the different, you know, modes of what you want the wheels to kind of show you there. Again, I'm trying, but it's super reflective right now. And you do have the auto camera, which is nice. So once you get down to a certain speed, it will kind of turn that on and show you kind of what's around you, which is good, especially if you're needing to park and you don't want to press the button or have to press the button. It can get annoying sometimes. So when you're, especially when you're going slow for like different addresses and you have your maps up, so you still have the option to turn it off though, but the cameras are pretty good. No issues with that. And then we have the wireless charger down here, which let's go ahead and give it the chuck test. Did it catch? I don't think it did. Let me try that again. There. I was probably just needing to be a little bit more accurate, and it is charging. So we do have charging happening right now. And yeah, we're set with that. We come back and we have the shifter, and the shifter is nice. I really like the feel to it. It's really cool. Like you just press it down and spin it to what you want it to be. So right there is reverse. If you just push it down, it goes to neutral. If you push it down and to the right, it goes to drive, which is a nice little feel. And then obviously we have the park. Now, Lexus, hear me out, because when I do this, it just feels so comfortable and so perfect. So for maybe the LC500 refresh or new model, let's put this shifter in. You go down, you go in drive, and you go maybe down to the right and maybe a little bit further right. And then let's make this up and down to go through gears, because this, when I was driving, it wanted me to go up and down gears. So also don't make it EV, but yeah, we have that. And I would definitely love to see that in a future Lexus, where you have this shifting up and down with this, because this little indentation was a world of a difference for my palm to completely and comfortably rest there. We come back here and we have some fun buttons. We have traction control off, obviously, maybe not needed too much for performance side of things, but good for like safety things. We have the hold. I was trying to figure out how to keep this on permanently, but yeah, not sure how to quite do that. I might have missed it in the menus, but hold is nice to have, but just having to do it manually. Then we have the parking brake. Now, one thing I will mention is this transmission. It's really long, when, especially my driveway, when I have it in drive, pull up, put it in park, and the steepness of my driveway really makes the vehicle move significantly back. It doesn't quite lock it immediately, so be sure to use your hand brake, your electric parking brake, really, if you're driving anywhere steep or if you're parking anywhere steep, because this vehicle does roll significantly back and forward. And when you put it in reverse, it does have a pretty loud clanking sound, which is a little kind of, yeah, worrying some. We have the cup holders here, which were perfect, you know, good size. They still hold on to a smaller bottle, but if you have a big bottle or big cup, you won't have any issues. The armrest is, yes, Lexus. So I remember, I forget which vehicle it was, I didn't realize that you could open it on both sides. So you have the button there for the driver, and then the passenger has their own little button there and they can open it their way. So thank you, YouTube, for letting me know that I was wrong and saying that it sucked that I can only open it this side, because you can actually open it the other side as well. If it decides, yeah, you have to make sure you close the other side correctly. But yeah, we have that. Now let's go ahead and head to the back and see what we have there. We get to the back and we can see there is a ton of space back here. Again, we have those beautiful seats that just feel so nice back here. So definitely love that. We do have my kids' booster seat there. No complaints. Was loving every second of being back here. And like he always says and always finds, these secret cup holders. So yeah, we do have cup holders back here. We do have AC vents back here, along with the heated seats for the rear, as well as the USB-C connections for kind of each side of things. So yeah, that's kind of what we get back here. And the door again just looks so beautiful in this color, and we have for cup holders. But yeah, that's what we get in the back. We go for a drive and we're seeing how smooth this thing is. Yes, I'm actually hitting some pretty hard bumps on purpose, and it absorbs it so nicely. It's so smooth, it's so quiet, even on roads that can inherently be really noisy because of, you know, little bumps here and there. It is really comfortable, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Though the steering wheel again just feels so nice with getting it turned. It's just an overall impressive drive. Now let's go ahead and we'll go from a stop. So, oh, and the brakes, yeah, the brakes are really good. We get this big guy stopped, and we'll go ahead and switch it over to sport mode, and we have the hold, and we're supposed to go 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. So let's see how we do that. That's 60, yeah. And again, it didn't feel, well, it didn't feel super like, whoa. It does have the little whirring sound, which is nice. It's a nice little gimmick that we get. It does feel pumped in on that, but you know, it's still impressive. And again, the big thing with this one that is actually really good is highway passing. Usually we get like a plateau with power on EVs, because you just get the super jolt and then it just kind of dies out, and it still continues. It's still going fast, but you don't feel a boost of power, so to speak. Not with this though, because you'll still be going at highway speeds, and if you need to go past, it can still go. It's so I think that's actually where it's most impressive, is going from, you know, from a go and then going further. That's the crazy thing, because usually EVs are just out of the line, just such torque monsters to get ahead. Not with this. This is definitely a lot smoother when you go to you know, accelerate, but the mid-range to high range is where this thing is actually excelling. Surprising for an EV. Now I do have the full regenerative system on the highest level, and also, you know, when we go to brake, it feels really nice. The pedal responds really well. The steering is really good. Yes, I know I'm kind of giving it more of a performance drive to this, but it's got a sport mode, so that means you could be sporty in this, right? Yeah, it should be. But yeah, the brakes feel really good. No complaints as far as, like, you know, any fade or anything like that. The power delivery is really good, especially with that Direct 4 system to get it, you know, to the right wheel. It just turns this big guy and puts the power down really well. So this is the fun, impressive part of this big CUV or SUV, I guess you want to call it, whatever it is these days. But it's just so impressive with the power delivery. Again, this turn feels so good, very confidence inducing, no issues with, you know, losing grip or anything like that. Now, the other impressive thing with this RZ, because it is an electric and that Direct 4, and the way that the power kind of goes to the wheels and does its thing, is the turning radius. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn this. It is so tight. It is such a tight turning radius. I had no issues. And this is a small road to kind of do this on. And I actually picked probably the smallest part of the road. But it's impressive how good it can just turn on a dime, really. So let's go ahead and we will stop, we will turn traction control off, and let's see how much wheel spin we get when we don't have traction control on. None. Just as I suspected. They are big wheels, they are grippy tires. It's not a lot of power, so I was still impressed by that. We'll go ahead and turn it on just in case. But yeah, there's just so much grip to this, and it just feels so good. And again, that wheel, when you do that, it just feels so good. It really does. But again, if you want to just be in sport and get a little bit sporty, you can. Obviously not something you're going to be taking on the track, but on a Sunday drive like today, you want to just enjoy the sun. And yeah, if you want to enjoy the sun, you push that and the sun comes in from that moon roof situation thing we have up there. It's getting a little hot, so we'll do that. But again, we can also just kind of put it in eco mode and just be calm. Yeah, just kind of enjoy your time with this. It's a really, really impressive vehicle. Yeah, I was surprised. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2023 Lexus RZ 450e. And remember, it's EV, so there's really no gears. See you later.